Around 9 in the morning, I heard my pregnancy announced on live radio, then discovered coworkers' secret channel mocking me for months. I froze at my desk. Everyone laughed like it landed. My hands went cold. I mean, what was funny? Okay, so the host used my full name. He congratulated me warmly. He shouted out our company. And he thanked the team for sharing the happy news. And here's where it gets worse. I checked my inbox and saw a link. It led to a chat archive labeled Fun Radio Bits. Inside were 23 entries, each tagging me with baby jokes. I pushed back my chair. Who emailed the station? A chair squeaked behind me. It was just a bit. Turn it off. Now, my voice went tight. We thought you'd laugh. Someone's tone tried sounding casual. The office manager peered over her screen. Let's not overreact. I stood up. Get it stopped. At this point, my stomach just flipped. My pulse hammered. I walked straight to the director's door and knocked once before stepping in. He glanced up, confused. I told him the show announced a fake pregnancy using my name, and that I wanted it ended immediately. He blinked, reached for his phone, then asked for the host email. I forwarded the link with shaking thumbs. He typed faster than I'd ever seen him move, then looked at me and nodded once. We pulled the station off our speakers. I drafted one message to the host. I'm not pregnant. This needs to end. He apologized within minutes, promised no more mentions, and deleted the segment from their page. But here's where it gets crazy. The archive wasn't isolated. A coworker had created an internal channel 3 months earlier, and that channel kept a running tally. 23 mentions, 3 emails a week to the host, 6 names posting the jokes, including the office manager. The channel icon showed a tiny bottle. I grabbed my notebook. How long has this been? The director rubbed his temple. From what date? Since June 19th, I replied. He leaned forward. Show me everything. I'm compiling screenshots. My jaw locked. Send them over, he said. I exported messages by month, every line stamped. 4 months total, posts 3 times weekly, threads naming me directly, a countdown spreadsheet for a fake due date. At this point, I'm just done. I saved everything in a folder titled Documentation and backed it up locally. Then I called the external HR provider listed on our intranet. Because yes, we apparently had one, and requested a same-day consult. The scheduler gave me 2 options. I picked the earlier slot and wrote bullet points so I wouldn't forget anything. The consultant adjusted her glasses over video. If it continues, it's harassment, I nodded slowly. It affected a broadcast. Public humiliation raises risk. Her voice stayed even. One more incident could constitute a hostile environment. What do I do first? Submit a formal complaint, she replied. Name every participant. I closed the call and printed the form. My leg bounced against the chair. I listed the channel owner, the office manager, and the 4 loudest posters. I included the dates, the frequency, and the radio audio backup. I included the station's apology email, and I attached the spreadsheet, the one tracking my imaginary trimesters. The office manager walked by my desk. We were kidding. Lighten up. My shoulders tightened. It's not a joke, she gave a flat smile. I'm looping in our policy. The director stepped out, face set. Conference room, now. We filed in, chair scraping. He invited the HR consultant to dial in and put her on speaker. The line clicked. I'm concerned about liability, he began. The consultant didn't waste a beat. If another mention airs, your company faces exposure, defamation, privacy violation, gender discrimination. The combination is dangerous. So we stop it, he replied. Not just stop it, she continued. You must address the culture and ensure no retaliation. The office manager crossed her arms. It was team banter. Her voice went sharp. Banter that targets protected characteristics becomes harassment. Pregnancy touches gender. The room went quiet. I stared at the table. Effective immediately, the director said. The channel is closed. And disciplinary meetings follow, she added. We broke. Everyone avoided my eyes. I returned to my desk and discovered the channel disabled. But a new invite flickered from a private chat I hadn't seen before. I clicked, and a different channel opened with an older creation date. This is where everything fell apart. It had months of jokes predating the radio nonsense. Threads naming me, my lunch choices, my clothes, a poll on whether I'd quit after my imaginary maternity leave. My hands started shaking again. Part of me wanted to slam my laptop shut. Part of me wanted to push through and gather every line. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why didn't I bail right then? Because clarity finally landed. I copied the older channel's archive into the same documentation folder and added dates. The posts went back to spring. The humor wasn't humor. It was routine targeting dressed as office wit. I lifted my phone. We need another call, the consultant answered quickly. More posts. Months of them. My throat tightened. Send them now, she replied. I hit share. She reviewed in silence, then breathed out slowly. Here's the plan, she continued. We escalate to a formal investigation. Interviews within 3 business days. Preserve all data. No deleting. Will my role be safe? In theory, yes, she replied. In practice, we'll enforce non-retaliation. Notices this afternoon. The director pinged me and asked me to step into his office. I walked in and he gestured to a chair, his face pale. He looked like a man who'd just discovered a fire smoldering under his floorboards. I didn't know, he said. I needed you to. I answered. He nodded once. You have my support. The director's jaw worked once. Then he nodded. He opened his laptop with a snap and pulled up the org chart. He drafted calendar invites for interviews, labeled investigation, and told me he'd bring in the external HR consultant to chair them. My shoulders stayed tense. He scheduled mine first for that afternoon. He asked if I wanted a support person present, and I chose no. I printed my timeline and highlighted the entries. Then I walked to the small conference room and waited. The consultant joined on video. We'll record this, her tone steady. Start from the radio. I walked her through the broadcast, the archive, the older channel, the frequency. I gave the dates. I described the public congratulations using my full name. She took notes quietly, then asked for the impact. My throat burned. I avoided the kitchen. I managed. I stopped eating at my desk. She wrote 2 more lines and thanked me. We'll call in others, she continued. Do not engage them. I exhaled slowly. Understood. They started with the channel owner. I sat outside with my headphones in while voices rose behind the wall. A chair scraped. The door opened. The office manager walked past without looking at me. Then 2 team leads filed in one by one. By late afternoon, the consultant called me back in. We're issuing hold notices, she explained. No one deletes anything. The director stood by the whiteboard. There will be consequences, he added. That night, a ping hit my phone. A coworker messaged me privately. We messed up. No tag, no emojis, just those words. I put the phone face down and stared at the ceiling. Part of me wanted to forgive right away. Part of me braced for round 2. You know that feeling when your stomach won't settle and your legs keep bouncing under the covers? That was me. Morning brought a formal email. The office manager was suspended pending outcome. The channel owner was suspended too. 3 others got written warnings. I got a line, guaranteeing no retaliation. The director asked if I wanted a team meeting apology. I shook my head. I want it to stop, I told him. He nodded and dismissed everyone early with a memo about standards. The radio stayed off. 2 weeks later, the consultant rapped. Findings, targeted conduct over months, public amplification, risk to reputation, risk to workplace safety, recommendations, discipline, training, a zero-tolerance policy, a reporting hotline. The director implemented all of it within a week. He apologized privately for not seeing it. I thanked him for acting and kept my guard up. And then my personal life crashed. My relationship ended over text during lunch. No warning. No conversation. My hands went numb. I pushed my chair back and walked to the bathroom before the tears even started. I locked a stall and sat breathing through it until the shaking calmed. I splashed water on my face and returned to my desk with eyes dry and jaw set. Later that day, curiosity kicked in where it shouldn't have. I searched for any lingering private channels. I found one. Another archive. The timestamp went back months before the radio. This one wasn't jokes about babies. It was comments about me, who I ate with, whether I smiled. It was petty, but it stung in a way that left heat in my chest. I copied everything. I filed another complaint. The consultant reopened the case and looped it into the original. One more interview cycle. One more round of consequence letters. One person got fired. The office manager returned chastened and avoided me entirely. 2 others delivered stiff apologies in the hall. Didn't mean harm, one offered. I stared flatly. You did harm. He swallowed and stepped aside. Part of me wanted to burn the place down with every receipt. Part of me wanted to disappear quietly and find somewhere that didn't feel like a school cafeteria, where I was the joke of the day. So here's the thing. I set rules for myself. Any future workplace needed a real HR team, posted salary bands, and a location that would pull me out of this rut. I opened job boards and filtered hard. One posting matched all 3 and closed in 3 days. I applied the same hour. I wrote a direct cover letter and cut everything cute. I attached my portfolio and listed quantifiable projects. I clicked submit and felt my shoulders drop an inch. That night, I updated my resume header with my personal email because, I wasn't trusting internal systems. I rehearsed interview answers while doing dishes. I slept a little. They emailed the next morning. Interview offer for the following week. I stared at the screen and whispered, please. I replied yes, picked an afternoon slot, and booked a train ticket. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why not just leave immediately? Money, right? Rent is real. I needed an actual offer, not a daydream. The interview day was crisp and weirdly bright. I carried a notebook and arrived early. The reception desk printed a sticker with my name. I sat in a small waiting area and skimmed my prepared bullets. A hiring manager collected me with a smile. We walked through project questions, stakeholder wrangling, and how I handle ambiguity. I kept my voice steady. I gave clear examples. I asked about their HR team. I asked about their pay scales. They answered without flinching. They introduced me to a future teammate on video. She leaned forward. We're unionized, she mentioned. We love it. My chest lifted. What does that look like? She grinned. It looks like boundaries that are real. The manager walked me out. We'll be in touch soon, he offered. My hand steadied for the first time in weeks. The next day, a second interview invite landed. Panel round. I prepared again, deeper this time, with data stories and postmortems. I printed a roadmap sketch and highlighted risks. The panel started with a curveball about failure and trust, and the room went quiet while they waited. I drew a breath, owned a mistake, mapped recovery, and tied it to their roadmap. The lead leaned back, eyebrows up. Then came the ethics scenario about blowing the whistle on a teammate. I didn't blink. I walked through documentation, reporting paths, and the duty to escalate. The hiring manager scribbled notes, then smiled without hiding it. They asked for questions from me. I asked about unions, pay ranges, and grievance routes. The HR partner answered clearly, no flinching, no hedging. I walked out with legs steady for once. That night, my phone rang during dishes. Unknown number. Hi, is now okay? I grabbed a towel. Yes, this is me. We'd like to move forward. My throat tightened. Are you offering? We are pending references. I can provide them today. We'll email the details shortly. When the call ended, my hands finally stopped shaking. And that's when the old job pushed back. The director called me in with a closed door and a tight expression. He offered a raise and a title bump if I stayed. I appreciate it, but I'm leaving. We can match salary. It isn't about money. His voice softened. I failed you. You acted when it counted. I also missed what was brewing. I need a clean slate. He nodded, eyes tired. Send me your resignation. I wrote a short, direct note and gave 2 weeks. HR processed the exit checklist within a day. I boxed my desk, left plants for a friend, and cleared drives. On my last afternoon, the office manager cornered me by the printer. Leaving solves nothing. It solves this, for me. You made us look awful. Her voice went sharp. You escalated a joke that used my body. You could have come to me. I lifted a box. I did. You laughed. She stared, then turned away. That moment ended any doubt I had. I started the new role the week lockdown emptied streets. Onboarding happened over video tiles and shared docs. My manager opened with a welcome and a list of support resources. How are you doing, honestly? I rubbed my eyes. Tired, but hopeful. We go slow at first. I'll take slow and clear. We can pair you with Maya. Perfect. I like learning by doing. Maya pinged me that afternoon with a checklist and a coffee chat link. She walked me through systems, without making me feel small. We set priorities that matched my ramp, not someone else's impatience. By week 2, I shipped a tidy win and slept better. Then the union rep invited me to an intro session. You interested in joining? What does membership cover? A contract, grievance support, bargaining power, and time off for stewards. Yes, training is during work. I'm in. Where do I sign? I filled the form and felt my shoulders drop again. Weeks blurred into projects, retros, and small wins that stacked. I stopped bracing for the joke before every meeting. My appetite returned, my sleep steadied, and my leg quit bouncing. Months later, a news blip announced my old radio station had folded. I stared at the headline and felt nothing but quiet. The director emailed me once to say he'd rebuilt policies and let 2 more people go. Thank you for pushing us to act. I typed slowly. Thank you for acting. If you ever want a reference, ask. I appreciate it, truly. I didn't need the reference, but the gesture landed. A year in, my manager asked if I'd consider steward training. You have a backbone and receipts. What would it involve? Listening, documenting, holding lines? I can do that. Then welcome aboard. I helped file a grievance after a teammate got blindsided by workload reassignments. We won a small fix and a bigger conversation. That win rewired something tender inside my chest. I stopped apologizing for taking up space. Every now and then, someone asks about my old job. What pushed you to leave? A radio congrats for a pregnancy I didn't have. Their eyebrows rise. That actually happened. Yep, on air, full name, people are wild. People with power need checks. If you're wondering whether I ever received a sincere apology, I did, eventually. One former teammate wrote a long note taking full responsibility. No excuses. I filed it with my documents and chose not to reply. Forgiveness felt optional, boundaries didn't. On the anniversary of my offer, I took a walk and counted the pivots. I documented early, I escalated, and I left. It wasn't heroics. It was choosing myself over a room that treated me like content. If you're in a place that laughs at your pain, hear me. You're not overreacting. You're reading the room correctly. Document. Escalate. Move. And if you can't yet, set rules for your next jump, because work isn't a family, and your body isn't a punchline, and privacy is yours. Years from now, you'll remember the moment your spine clicked into place. Mine did when I heard my name on that broadcast. It also did when someone finally said, "We're unionized." Both moments told me who I wanted to be. I'm still that person, only steadier now. I mentor interns, I coach new hires, and I leave the door propped open. When a junior messages me, I answer. When a policy wobbles, I bring receipts and a calm voice. When fear whispers, I check my notes and keep moving. If my younger self were here, I'd tell her she isn't difficult. The room is. I'd tell her to document, to find allies, to take the next train out. I'd tell her that quitting isn't failure, it's strategy. And I'd tell her that strangers on a broadcast don't get to narrate your life. You do. The last loose end came as an email from an old teammate who had stayed quiet. I saw what happened to you.